Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined, as usual, for the 205th time, Mike, by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike.
Hey Dale, how's it going? Eco Northwest. That's
Eco Northwest, right. And so that's the question, is the eco in their name, is it about ecology? Is it about being green? Or is it about economy? Or both?
hmm
So that's the question that this guy, Dan DeYoung, and Dennis Roller, who used to be with the Daily Courier, and Mark Gatlin and company at the Grants Pass City Council, this is what they were talking about. Is this company that's being considered to run our economic future for us, are they kind of disposed against timber harvesting, that kind of thing? Just how green are they? Is it green dollars or is it the other kind of green? So after they had this meeting on the 15th, today was the very first day, by the way, that the Grants Pass City Council, the city government, posted this story. So you can go see the whole 3 hours if that's what you wish to do with your time. This is a 40-minute segment that we're playing for you, and also we're going to post the whole thing so that you can see that without any talk from two goons on both sides of it, and maybe during it. It's up to us. It's our show. So this guy right here, Dan DeYoung, had some questions about all this, and you'll listen to the presentation by Aaron Kubik, who is the city manager. And then a lot of questions from the city council about this during this council, regular council meeting. One of the things that you cannot depend upon, go figure, is the Daily Courier to get this straight, because I've got a little excerpt from the Daily Courier here. And here is my favorite reporter, Jim Moore. And he's saying on the front page of the Daily Courier the next day that the County Board of Commissioners previously approved the contract. No, they didn't. And Jim Moore was in the same meetings that I've been in, and somehow it ends up on the front page of the Courier, top of the page. No, they have not. So I saw Simon Hare in the hallway recently, and I said, we're going to do this story. He said, oh, well, good. Because, see, we've been the only place you can go to see a replay of this thing. And unless you were there live, that's your only chance to figure out what it was he said. He said, well, tell me how the vote went. See, actually what happened, you'll see on this, it's a spoiler alert, but this is politics. Get over it. Okay, so they split 3-3 with very strange bedfellows on this. Normally they are 6-0, but then the mayor stepped in and made the deciding vote, and that was it. So it's going to be Eco Northwest that's going to be helping us decide our financial future. Now, in the meantime, sorry to spring you on this, Mike, but Mike knows and has seen a lot of the videos, as have a number of you, about what Cheryl Walker's stand over the last 3 years, or at least lately, has been about economic development and who's running that in the county. Do you want to talk about that, little Mike, so it won't be just me?
Who's running it in the county? Well, yeah. I mean, I think that she would say that she is, but then there's, IBCDO, the what's the
business development. Small business.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't thinking of their. I know that's the Illinois Valley, economic development operation there, and then there's who's the. I'm sorry here. Who's the economic development people that have been in here? We're giving them $25,000 every year for years. Who are they?
Yeah, one of my favorites. So Ready.
Yeah. So Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that she'd say those people.
Right. Now, they got in the equivalent of a knockdown, drag-out fight she got into with Simon Hare, and we have posted those videos for you, where he said, really, we need someone that's managing this thing. You think you're going to take it away from me? No, you're not, and now, and then she also said, Now, Simon Harris suggesting that someone from the outside should be doing this. Why? We can't afford that, and we don't want someone from the outside. And guess what she's advocating for now? Someone from the outside.
Yeah, you know what? I just think that. Listen, I've said it 100 times. Nobody should be running this. There should be a policy in place. You know, and listen. This idea that somebody downtown can run economic development and be effective at it is a complete falsehood, because they're trying to inject their own. They're trying to micromanage. They're trying to make little decisions. We're going to give something to you, and then you'll get ahead, and you'll be the one who takes off, and all the economy will all go that way. No. Stop it.
Well, we did just find
Let people do it.
Rogue Roasters got some money from the county as a gift. They don't have to pay it back. And it just was finding out recently that they bought another company, another local company. They took them over.
Who did?
Rogue
Roasters?
Roasters did. Yeah. Well, that's nice, because what that meant was, we don't know if they use that exact money, those exact marked dollars, or if they use some others freed up by those. But that
doesn't matter.
Enabled them to take over from somebody else. We're picking winners and losers, are we not?
Yeah. No, listen, God, you know what? I understand the ego and how it wants to believe that it can do this kind of thing better than the God-given motivations of people
to drink coffee.
But no, to do anything to pursue their happiness. That is the error here with these people. Knock it off. It's not going to work. It's not. I don't care if the president of the United States comes in here and decides who's going to do what. It's not going to work. Okay? It just is not going to work. So what you have to do is, listen, either just give this money back to the community as a whole or something, or give it to them in a block thing. Say, hey, first come, first served. First guy wants a permit. Everybody until the money's gone. You know, but this thing is stupid. Anybody who believes in this economic development crap is a moron. It doesn't work.
Well, let's see if Mike is right. Cheryl Walker's been running.
Show me an example. Tell me of an example of it working.
I'm helping. Cheryl Walker has been running economic development for the county for 3 years. What's the big project that's ended up under her watch? And the city has hired, Grants Pass City has hired an economic development business liaison kind of guy. Well, that guy worked for a little while, wandered around town, talked with a few people, went to some meetings, and then quit. And their latest guy that they hired to replace that guy,
of course,
the latest guy that was going to be doing exactly that same job, he walked around town, he went to a few meetings, and he just quit.
Yeah. Because it's a scam, and they got paid, and so they left. They went, hey, you know, somebody gave me 25 grand. I stuck it in my pocket. I made a few little things acting like, yeah, I'm doing something. And you know what? Here's the problem is these pointy-headed little intellectuals down there who think that somehow this is how things are done. They go, well, yes, this all sounds very logical to me. You know, to them, this is real. It's a complete sham. It is a complete sham. Show me anywhere where it's worked.
Well, Mark Van Holly came in and he all but convinced the county commissioners that he already had a deal with Jackson County, which he didn't. And they just sort of by accident said, oh, well, just show us how well it's working for Jackson County. Like, oh, okay. But he never did have that. And he was changing the contract while they were sitting there. What a unique opportunity that was for us.
Listen, I suspect that once in a blue moon, one of these economic development things actually ends up developing into something, but 99% of the time, I'd love to see the stats on this statewide to see, you know, the economic development money and how it's getting spent and you know, what it actually ends up creating, done audited by some individual outside of any influence to support this thing, because I think it's a complete scam, and people set up little shell companies to do this type of behavior, and they come up with little pitches and they do all this kind of stuff, and it's purely for harvesting cash and then saying a few nice words. Well, we tried to do such and such, blah blah blah. Let me tell you what we did, and we called 50 companies and we did this, that, and the other. Let's see, they put this up as though this is some kind of a big deal. Why don't they just say, well, we're doing this, and it may or may end up being something. But see, the problem is that this ends up being like something the commissioners can reach for. Oh my God, it's my legacy. It's almost within my grasp. I'll bring 50,000 jobs to Josephine County. No, you won't. No, and these people are baiting you with that, and you're buying into it because you're an idiot.
Well,
this doesn't work.
Not you, not our viewers. Thank you very much, Mike. Our viewers aren't idiots. Oh, okay. So I see Simon here.
I'm trying to figure out how our viewers would have, construed that I was talking about them.
I'm just having a little fun on a serious subject. So Simon Hare sees me in the hallway, and I tell him that we're going to be playing this. He's, oh, good, because they have a meeting tomorrow with Aaron Kubik, who's the city manager, to brief them for the first time about what this is about, because Cheryl's not done a very good job of explaining, because she hasn't been explaining anything that she's been doing. Okay, so we paid for her economic development plan. It was photocopies of other people's ideas. And so she was part of the group that picked these guys that, and despite what the Courier says, no, the county commissioners have not yet said yes, but it looks like they're probably going to, because what other choice do they have? Cheryl Walker or some outside firm, and rolling the dice on them,
par for the course, let's have another Dimmick Tower.
So I said, well, how about if I send you a link and then you can take a look at this, and now they're having this meeting tomorrow. Well, I tried to send him the link. You know what? Somehow I think all of my emails to Simon Hare have been blocked. Go figure now. How is that possible?
Spam filter.
Well,
has you identified as one of the bad guys. No, this stuff, it's all just craziness. And I think, listen, people, this has been proven hundreds of times over the course of history. People in the pursuit of their own interests develop wealth. It's how it's done, in case you didn't know. So the only thing that government can do that will make this stuff happen is remove the impediments that they have to that sort of thing. So if they have some money that they can remove the impediments with, they can do that, because they have very little that they can do to remove the federal and state impediments.
Well, we have an election coming up in a year, and we can remove 2 of the 3 impediments to economic prosperity in this county, including the liaison to economic development. How can there be a liaison? Isn't everybody supposed to be a liaison? Okay, so now that you've heard the blah, blah, blah from the 2 guys, now we're going to play, and we can talk over it if we want to. My mother told me that we could. And then at the end, we're going to come in and we're going to say goodbye to you. And then if you want, you can go take a look at the entire 45 minutes out of 3 hours and see for yourself, not encumbered by any kind of impediments to you understanding what the heck it is that they're saying. Good luck with that. Play the tape, Mike.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the public. You have started an item under the consent consent agenda with regarding to the Economic Development Strategic Plan and the RFP to approve that planning process. So this presentation just briefly highlights the process and opens that up for further council discussion. So in January, an RFP was developed with 22 key areas of service to be delivered to the city. The overall responsibilities and scope of work for the consultant is to prepare an economic development strategic plan, utilizing measurable, qualitative, and quantitative data gathering during the planning process. On March 27th, 2015, an RFP was sent to 4 companies known to provide economic development strategic plans. It was also posted online and advertised in the Daily Journal of Commerce and the Grants Pass Daily Courier. We had 17 company requests for RFP information. On May 8th, 2015, 6 companies participated in a pre-submittal conference to discuss the project. On May 29th, we received 11 proposals from the RFP. A review committee was then formed, consisting of 3 City of Grants Pass employees, 1 county commissioner, and 1 representative of the Small Business Development Center. And they evaluated on these 4 criteria: the size and reputation of the company, the fit and how it compares to the city, the written documentation matches for the RFP, and then their experience. 2 proposers out of those came out well above the rest. And on June 26, 2015, the interview committee conducted a phone interview with the 2 finalists. Through that and after the phone interviews, they unanimously recommended Eco Northwest, and that's why it's now in front of you. Concludes my report.
Questions for staff? Rick?
Aaron, is it possible to know just history-wise who the members of the committee were, so to just have a perspective of the expertise that was involved?
This is not our camera work.
So there was a member of the Small Business Development Center who was
John Lopez, I think.
I'd have to check the reference. I'm not sure with that. Cheryl Walker, representing the Board of Commissioners, was the representative there. She's the one that's in charge of economic development for the county, or oversees that activity. And then there was Don Abbott, our business advocate, David Reeves, and
oh brother,
and Laura.
And Abbott has left, I think.
Dan?
We heard earlier from Tony Webb that there's been numerous studies about economic development by a whole host of different
Scammers.
That, we've got Soretti, and we've got all these different people that have supposedly done this. And other than what the council did by lowering SDCs, I haven't seen a whole bunch of fruit fall off of that tree.
I rest my case.
So what makes this one any different? Did we learn anything from the last bunch? And or were we now just spending money for another report that comes through that really doesn't mean anything?
Bazing.
It evidently sounds corny. She's right, and I don't know that she is or isn't. But nothing ever came from the last one. There was recommendations, but I guess nobody followed through on it, or
especially
what's different about this one?
They got paid. That's why you never heard from them again.
Is that the new wrinkle here?
Well, a number of entities that we are partners with were mentioned earlier under public comment. Those entities have a sole specific purpose. They've got a target, and they do a good job at those targets. This, however, has a broader approach, and it deals with a regional approach to economic development.
It's called Southern Oregon Regional Economic Development.
Yes. We do not have a regional economic development plan for Josephine County. That's what this deliverable would be. The deliverable of this would be a strategic plan with operational plans associated with that for both the city and the county, focusing on economic development and how to further economic development and where we should focus our resources, both from a county and city perspective, and provide an operating tools for the county to focus on, the city to focus on, and then also for both of us jointly to work together on to develop economic development.
Follow up, Dan, and then Roy.
So when Soretti comes and gives us their sales pitch,
give them the boot.
They basically say the same thing, that we're here for Josephine County and we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do that. And then every year we join in and we pay them Soretti out of the budget. Every year we give them money, and I don't know whether we've seen anything from Soretti, anything remarkable, that we could have kept that money in the thing and bought jail beds with it.
He starts off sounding like he
anyway. Is this going to be different? Is this just focused on Josephine County and the city of Grants Pass both? It doesn't have anything to do with Jackson County or anything like Soretti, I guess, handles Jackson and Josephine and so on and so forth?
So
Just more targeted.
yes
You
to
said
your
regional.
answer, and then I'll provide a qualifier. So
Yes and no.
again, So Ready has a specific target audience. They're primarily
People with money
to look at and bring in bigger businesses and businesses to the Southern Oregon region.
Oh, we don't want
And
that.
they try and make a fit with those businesses coming from California or Arizona or Washington, Idaho, trying to bring in business recruitment and trying to match the local resources and what those benefits are to the business coming in, whether it be the proper location for siting of a corporate headquarters, or it be a low per square footage price on an existing building, or it be available vacant land for industrial sites. Those are the type of things So Ready is really focused on and does a good job with the
They're
Southern
doing
Oregon
a good
region.
job. Yeah.
Yep.
They represent all of Southern Oregon. So that is just one portion. That's one leg of a centipede when it comes to economic development. Small business development, one leg, another leg of the centipede. What this does is this tries to take a look at the centipede as a whole and tries to determine what legs we should be utilizing resources for.
This is just
and what would be the best portion of those
Sorry.
I haven't seen this. I haven't
pointy-headed
seen
intellectual exercise.
and some kind of metric.
Come
where we can
on.
determine
Neither one of us has
how we're
seen
doing
this. This is
and
amazing.
steps to help us get us there.
You can watch it without our comments if you wish.
That focuses more on what are our benefits? What should we be focusing on? Should we put all of our resources in traded sector? We used to do that from a city's perspective a number of years ago. It was
That
focused
worked out
solely
well.
on traded sector.
Yeah.
Or should we go away from traded sector? Should we focus on business retention and growth?
You know
That's
what?
where we're
Well,
going to get our best
It's a
dollars and our
stupid.
best bang for our buck.
Everybody knows that government workers working on the road are wholly inefficient. And so look at this guy. He's going to run our economy for us. He's going to make, advise who's going to be running the economy. Come on.
These type of questions would be answered through this planning process. It truly is a strategic plan.
It
similar
truly
to the
is.
strategic planning
Yes.
process that you go through on an annual basis. The benefits of that strategic planning process you recognize on a daily, weekly, and yearly basis, on the benefits of having a work plan that will follow the strategic plan, that will establish those goals, it provides you a direction to where you're going and how you're going to get there.
And that's worked out so well with the
We do
grants.
not have that for Josephine County. We technically don't have that from a regional approach, regionally for Josephine County and the city of Grants Pass. Yes, there are other
region
entities
now.
that are doing portions of that, but those are all just legs of a centipede. There is no real overall strategic planning document or strategy.
Isn't that what
helps us
Cheryl said
be
she
as
came up
efficient and
with?
as effective as possible with the
Yes.
limited resources
It took
we
her
have for
3
economic
years.
See, government shouldn't be doing this. They don't do anything else right. What makes you think they'd be doing this right?
Why don't you ever say that during these meetings, Mike?
I was on a task force that was directed by the county commissioners to So Ready to develop a strategic plan for the county.
Roy Lindsay.
And there was about 15 people, 15, maybe 20, I don't remember exactly, people in this task force. And we worked many sessions, many meetings, and we came up with a overall draft perspective that we felt had some good ideas in it. And as soon as it was presented to each commissioner individually for comment, it was made public and improperly characterized by certain individuals. And the whole thing died.
Can you turn it up a little bit, Mike?
Because it was torpedoed big time.
I wonder who those people were.
It was very frustrating at that time because we had spent so much time, so many meetings, really drilling down and looking.
Yes, we must keep the operation of government secret.
I applaud the attempt to get a more global view of Josephine County in terms of the strategic plan.
No leaking.
A
That
global
task force
view.
watching that. And it was, it really had some good ideas in it. Those ideas probably are not going to be as effective today as they were then.
Oh, they were
Conditions have
effective, all right.
changed
Sure, they were effective.
drastically. And so.
That's why they were so easily thrown away.
I personally don't think it's a good idea. I think we need to start with a clean slate and really go at it with vigor and determination.
Let's do it with vigor this time.
From a historical point of view, it has been attempted, but the one incident that I was involved in was a dismal failure because of
Your involvement?
Yes, he's involved again. That's exactly right. I was thinking exactly the same thing.
I'd like, as a point of clarification, I'd like
Can
to
you
bring
turn it up a little bit, Mike?
The two people that talked in the public comment, they made it sound like the city was going to pay the $112,000. And I want to make that clear that we're not paying the whole thing. There's going to be a contribution from the county.
37,500.
To make those statements when they said it started at one point and jumped up to that 112,000. So I just wanted to clarify that on the record.
Sure, the city's only putting in
Councilor
75,000.
Hanlon, that's a good point. This
Completely
is a partnership. The county's gone in with the county. The city has gone in with the county to try and have some kind of collaborative approach to this. And that includes not only from a planning standpoint, but also from a funding standpoint. The city has budgeted $75,000. The county actually has budgeted, I believe, about $37,000 for this project to go in partnership with the city.
37.5.
Wow.
Yep.
Yes. Dan and Roy?
I wish I had a toilet flushing sound
Up to the
effect.
packet, and I don't see anywhere. It said you got two bid back to that you were in the final, that were in the final go round. And of the two, unanimously, y'all picked one. What was their bid? Was there a bid, or did they just agree to do something for $112,500?
Yeah, they did provide a proposal with that dollar amount in it.
Of course they did.
Services that responded to the RFP.
So you had a list of services that you wanted to accomplish with this.
Do we have this
22
document?
different aspects of
22 aspects.
economic development that we were wanting to address.
And then did they know that you had $112,500 in the kitty?
Yep.
And say, yeah, we can do all 22 for that amount? Or did you go out and say,
Good
these
question.
are the 22 things, how much is it going to cost us to get recommendations on all of these, and they come back with 97,000? Or did they know
Let's
this
hear this answer.
112.50 first?
I haven't seen this.
So when it comes to professional services, we're looking at the competitive bidding process.
Yeah.
We look at qualifications as the number one. Price is secondary. So
Of course it is.
And that's part of the law you have to follow. But
Yeah, you got to do that. That's the law, Mike.
Was, I believe, available and printed in that, because we're looking
course
at
it was.
not necessarily cost. Qualifications is first.
Okay, because I know how it is at home. If I give my wife $100 bill, it's gone. But if I say go buy what you need, she may come back for $87.50. I don't know.
There you go.
Just a question.
And how many of them came up with that number? 112.
I
Were
mean,
most of the
was there
proposals
some
for
of them
that
were higher
amount?
than that?
Be honest.
Most of the bids were right on that target.
Of
It
course
seems
they
like there
were.
was one or two that were slightly higher, and I think one below it, but it was less than maybe 7,000. They were all right in that. range.
These people can't even negotiate a contract, and we want them to manage the economy.
Roy?
Come on.
Oh, what's Roy Lindsay's answer?
Where are the funds for this coming from?
So we have $75,000 that was approved in this year's budget, that the budget committee approved, and that went through the strategic planning process, and those are general fund dollars. And
Yeah,
then
general
the
fund.
$37,000 from the county are coming from county dollars. I can't speak for the county totally, but I understand that they are utilizing some of their lottery travel tourism dollars for
Economic
that.
development funds from the lottery that could be spent elsewhere or not spent at all.
Dennis?
When we were reviewing these, you were reviewing the applicants, was there any consideration done of the bodies of work, the previous bodies of work, and also?
Oh, he's getting ready.
Biases? because
He's ready.
Going northwest is pretty anti-logging as far as I'm concerned, which is kind of a big deal since that used to be our mainstay around here. And hopefully it'll still play a part in it. And anyway,
They didn't anticipate this question. This was a surprise.
I'll let Laura respond to that since she was on the evaluation.
Yeah,
And because I don't want to.
Schools had comparable projects that they had worked on. And one of the things that we liked about ECO, and of course with ECO, you've got multiple different.
Because we like the word ECO.
Come in and this group had specialties in marketing, economics, and branding. So
wouldn't everybody that bid?
Isn't that nice? It's nice to know they have a nice brand.
Strategy plan will include some of that. But the specialist here on this team seemed very dynamic, interested in small towns.
Mark Van Holly was dynamic.
Yes,
exactly.
So he's a salesman, is what she's saying.
So
yeah.
I think this group is going to be broad. So I'm not sure familiar with the folks that might have come down to the Rotary meeting that you talked about before, Councilman. The same people, but they were very interested in focusing on Grants Pass and gave very good comparables.
Of course, they're interested in focusing on us, like Mark Van Holly was.
Yes. Dennis,
they want your money.
It wasn't just the Rotary. I mean, I've dealt with these people for 20 years. I mean, in the newspaper biz, and one of the things on their website was done for the Sierra Club, in which they downplayed all the thousands of lost jobs in the Pacific Northwest and said that basically Pacific Northwest had weathered virtually unscathed the national economic recession, and that national forests now produce goods and services that are much more significant than the value of logging.
What?
The Forest Service logging program has caused devastating impacts in the ability of national forests to provide economically valuable goods and services.
Oh, that ought to nuke them right there.
By logging will be costly.
This was supposed to be a done deal on this night.
Wow.
More. So, based on
he went to their website. Go figure.
And what's happened in the past, I have my doubts as to whether these guys can provide an unbiased view of.
Amen to that one. Okay, that's 18 minutes. I'm going to make a note. Yeah.
What's the answer? What's the answer? Come on.
Yeah.
Bring in Roy Lindsay.
This is a kind of a joint thing between Grants Pass, City of Grants Pass, Josephine County. Are they on board with this? You already had this conversation across the pond?
Yes, it's right. Are they on board? Yeah, they're on board.
And I actually believe the county has already approved their end.
Oh, liar, liar,
I knew it.
Correct. And this has already gone through there.
Yes.
And so Jim Moore writes it up because Aaron Kubik said it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But Jim Moore said it in the same meetings I said in.
Additional questions specifically. I know you're asking good questions of staff from a perspective of process and implementation and how it might affect the city. But if you have specifics with regards to them, you could always we could always establish some kind of a phone interview at a workshop or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
Any other questions?
Well, it's only half over. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Well, and this is kind of the end of our discussion where there's no public comment. This is it. So if you
no,
want to
can't have that.
Mark?
Well, I think that's Commissioner. Councilor Roller made a
brilliant,
very valid point.
Mark Catlin.
I looked on their website. I couldn't find anything. I looked at their consultants. I couldn't find anything that raised any red flags. But
oh, really?
The interaction
because I don't know what a red flag looks like.
Really didn't have this paper that was published. That
I'm not very smart. I need people to tell me.
If you're going to have,
but he did vote against this.
Of viewpoints about the Northwest that, as we know, are not indicative of reality.
See, he knows which way the political wind blows.
Maybe bring these points up to Commissioner Walker.
Right, she's going to give you honesty.
Yeah, like she cares.
Something that escaped her.
Who?
It didn't escape her. Let me guarantee you.
This, right over her head.
It did not escape her. She knows.
And I looked at the
Eco,
of the
count me in.
That are their consultants, and they are very widely diverse. On the surface, I would say, hey, these guys are on top of their game. I mean,
How
at
would
the
you
top
know?
of
You
their
said you
game.
couldn't.
I would see that, and I would concede that. However, when you say that the Pacific Northwest went virtually unscathed in the economic downturn, I'm thinking, what planet was that referencing? Economic Northwest of whose world are you living on? So I would think that maybe we can table this and
Good
and look
idea.
at it at a different time,
Yeah.
and maybe
Not
bring
going
these
to, though.
points up to the
What do you know?
commissioners, look at it once more.
They
And
should table
if
it and do more
perhaps
research,
this was
but
an
they're not
anomaly,
going to.
or that.
Listen, this is going to torpedo it for Simon.
I'm going to the benefit.
It
of the doubt
should.
here.
Yeah, that's not the way he's going to go. I don't think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't be against hiring them and giving them the contract if I felt better about it. At this time, I really don't feel that great about it.
Yeah, because I want to see the reaction first, because that's how I roll.
I guess I feel somewhat uneducated on this, and I would like to see if a presentation that enlightened us a little bit better with some of their background and what Laura's learned and being on the committee, just to hear different viewpoints. I'm a little hesitant running back to the county and saying, stop and hold everything at the moment.
Well, you won't need to, because they haven't considered it yet.
This is not what he was told by their staff people.
That's the problem.
Dan?
This is a problem.
Was in the discussion of what we wanted to get out of this report, was timber ever brought up as a bullet point? That, we recognize timber in Josephine County and is a big deal on federal land.
Good point.
Was that ever brought up?
Yeah, but why did he vote for this?
Thing, or is it just something? No,
You can see him changing during this meeting. You watch.
Timber needs to be preserved for everybody in New York. So therefore, we're going to just write it out of the thing and move on to making bowling balls with 4 thumb holes.
I would think to go back and look at the proposal. I didn't draft the proposal. I believe it was Dawn Abbott that pulled that together. So, when you go through.
Guy that's now gone, I think.
These different reports. I was
How
looking for
convenient.
different things, and I personally didn't focus on timber. So I would be uncomfortable answering that one way or the other for you. But we certainly can go back and pull that information and give you a better
Shouldn't you
breakdown.
do that instead of taking the vote?
Well, I think I'm going to kind of lean towards what, Dennis brings up a very good point, and it's something that I think this body needs to look into just a smidgen further before we go on. That's
Then
my
don't take the vote.
Jim?
Jim Goodwin's
I
in
think I
favor.
can say this because I spent a lot of years in the timber industry where my family's meals depended on the paycheck that I got. I don't know what we're doing here, because out of all of those proposals that the city got, if I'm grading those and one of these companies come in and says, hey, you know what? Number 1 bullet point, let's bring logging back. I'm going to take your $100,000 and that's going to be in my plan. They would have been laughed out, the first one out the door. I think they can have, dare I say, liberal views about the Pacific Northwest and forest and still do an outstanding job in economic development, which is the future.
Yes, that's right.
Of Grants Pass and Josephine County. If that happens to be, man, I am all for ramping up more timber production.
Yeah, left-wing
All for it.
people are they're real good at economic development. That's their whole thing.
City councilors serve for free, but who pays Jim
They
Goodwin?
didn't
Where's
overlook
his
it.
permanent full-time job?
I would just caution rather than holding
Jim
up the
Goodwin works for the
process,
county government.
finally have a partnership with the county. And the process, by the way, Aaron, good job. I mean, if we need to micromanage a process where how many put in a proposal?
We had 11 submit proposals.
If we have an RFP process and 11 proposals come in and our city staff are not competent enough
Yes.
in coordination with the county to pick the right one, let's fire them all and do the job ourselves.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
We just need to.
Starting with Cheryl Walker.
Wow.
Anyone
You know what? That guy's credibility has just been nuked as far as I'm concerned.
Just I just want to know when we get a report that's an objective one, that doesn't start off with a bias. That's what I'm looking at. You know, I mean, just to read you a little bit more on this report for the Sierra Club. Despite years of rhetoric and misinformation, national and regional economies are not dependent on logging national forests. That's what we do in Josephine County. 68% of our property.
I would agree with that 100%, but I don't think it disqualifies this firm from putting together an economic development plan.
Yeah, it doesn't disqualify him from doing it, but I'm sorry.
It seems to me that going along with what Councilor Goodwin says, perhaps we could approve this with a statement, a consensus of the council that we want at least the primary resource of this county to be at least considered. Granted, it's a very, very complex issue. There are so many things.
It's really complex, Mike.
When you consider that,
listen, it's academic anyway, since nothing is going to happen. You're just going to get the money, and they're going to go away.
Plus, some actually owned by the county. I think we could easily approve the contract.
Yes,
and then
he
make
voted
a
in
statement
favor.
that we want at least consideration of the primary resource that we have, which also includes mining.
Did they talk about mining?
Dan?
Which they probably hate too.
I like it. I'm sure glad Jim spoke up. I've been waiting because he has a lot of wisdom in what he says. We may be looking at it from maybe what Jim didn't mention is that a lot of times we might be so blinded by the past that we fail to look at opportunity coming right at us. There may be opportunity across another whole section of our economy that we're not even considering.
Yeah.
One of the things
There could be plenty of opportunities to give people's money away.
Thing is our lack
He's
of
changing right here.
Yeah.
employable people. That's one of the big things when people say, I need workers, and they're not qualified. They're not certified to weld. They don't know how to, put a nut on a bolt, and I need qualified people. And
So let's pay someone to tell you
might
that.
come out of this thing that we need to spend a tremendous amount of more time and effort educating our people in the trades. And, but I think I'm glad you brought me down to earth on the micromanaging part. I think that if the whole task force, because we asked the task force to do this, and then we kind of second guess them when they do the job we ask them to do.
Because you're supposed to oversee them.
I appreciate Dennis's
Right.
report because what it does.
See, they don't want to micromanage the process. They want to hire somebody else to micromanage the
Any
process.
language in the report that says, you guys
Micromanage, he was saying, in terms of not listening to the staff.
I think that
right.
we need to really look, and maybe they'll have some whole different ideas of something.
Now
that
he's going
would
the
love
other
to come here that we haven't even thought of because it's not in our realm. So I'm going to change my stance on it. I'm ready for somebody to make a motion.
There you go.
We're not there yet. Mark?
Well, I'm still of the opinion that if you're coming from a biased standpoint, you're not going to include timber. If you have an opinion that is on paper that's been published that says timber jobs are not important in the Northwest, that the economic devastation that is done to forests by logging and without any kind of reference to responsible, irresponsible, just logging in general, when you have that kind of bias against it, how is that going to be included in the process? I would submit that on the surface, as Dennis has pointed out, it's not going to be. Now, I don't know if that during the process we can stop it midstream. I don't know if we get quarterly reports or
That would be micromanaging.
whatever that we can say, hey, you haven't included logging. Where's the logging? At that point, we've already hired these guys. We've already signed a contract. And they said, well, we don't think logging is in your future. We don't think that's a good idea for you because there's no evidence that shows that logging jobs are important in Josephine County.
Well, do we need
That's
these
not okay,
people
because we've
to
already
assist
spent the
in
money. We've already signed the
hiring
contract.
logging? I mean, if
So
there
I
are
think
trees to
it-
cut and it's
I
okay to cut them,
truly
is there a
believe
shortage
that,
of people to
yeah,
run out in the forest
we
and
are
cut them?
here
I don't think
as a
so.
council
We
to
need a
look
plan, Mike. We need a plan.
Oh, come
We
on,
found
not
out-
from
how
these
many
guys.
times do we just approve? Okay, here's a portion that, wait a minute, we've got a little red flag here. And it may
Now
not be
he sees a red flag. Wow.
Yeah, amazing.
pointed to a serious issue that could torpedo a well-rounded economic plan, one that includes logging. I mean, I'm all for bringing new industry here. Please. I want it. Okay. But we have to include what is natural for us and what is responsible for us.
Like
And there are
marijuana.
responsible practices that are not being handled because you've got economic, I don't want to say the wrong word, but you have folks that have no use at all for using the minerals or the timber
Right.
that is in our lands and,
Yeah.
and use. to-
Somebody note the date and time. I agree with Mark
And so we
Gatlin.
have
Oh, man.
problems that comes with that. We need to have a company that has that in mind. And if this is, if what Councilor Roller has brought up to us is indicative of their mindset, then we're not going to find out that answer until it's well into the report or maybe at the end of the report. And then what do you say? Come up with a new one? Well, we want $125,000, $112,000. Or submit another RFP. I don't know where the process that happens. Can we indicate and demand that logging be a part of this? And would that be sufficient if you have someone whose mindset is already dead set against it? Oh, they want logging. Okay, well, here's you can do that over there. And there's your 25 logs per year that you can have.
I have to admit, Mike, he's making sense.
Now that report that they wrote there, they were working for the Sierra Club. Were they just giving the Sierra Club what the Sierra Club wanted to hear?
Yeah, and
I mean,
if
they were
that's
just
the
walking
case,
in and
then
they do the Sierra
maybe
Club.
they're
They're
just
not
going to
going to
tell
say,
you
yeah,
what you want to hear.
Log the planet, we'll replant next week. They're going to go to the Sierra Club and tell them, don't touch a stick. And that, I'm looking at who they were
They're
working
not going to tell
for
them the
there.
truth, Mike. They're going to tell them what they want to
They
hear.
give a very one-sided biased point of it.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm stuck on that. I'm on the fence. So
No, you're not. We just saw you change. You were ready to vote, remember?
Mark? Well, I thought we were done.
We were once.
After listening to everybody, and I think I want to go back to Mr. Kubik's suggestion, is that maybe we do need a conference to ask those questions direct from us. I don't know if that's possible, or
They're not going to do
we have
that.
some people that could sit there and like we've done on PAVE when we've interviewed the auditors on the police and fire and things like that. We sat there and asked questions for sometimes 45 minutes. And maybe we'll come back, we could come back, or two or three of the staff, maybe sit down and ask those questions directly and see what kind of answer we get. That would be, because I'm like that. I'm going to pull a good one. 49, 51%, as somebody used to tell us.
So, Mr. Mayor, with this being half
With
and
a
half,
follow-up of which
why
side
didn't
you were
you say,
leaning.
let's wait?
Wait a minute. I have Mark, Dennis, and then Jim. I can't just go by raised hands. Mark.
Well, in answer to your statement, Councilor DeYoung, Sierra Club is not going to go to a pro-logging company and get them to print out their diatribe. They're going to go to somebody who is like-minded with them. And I would submit to you that that's exactly what they did.
If I may.
Well, he doesn't know because he hadn't looked at the
Can we
website.
table this for a conversation? Can we do this in a workshop where we make a phone call and ask a few questions, Aaron?
Mayor, you guys can certainly do that.
They won't, though.
We will be more than happy to schedule with Econ Northwest a time during a workshop for a phone call and conference call for questions.
Okay. Dennis and then Jim.
Then postpone the vote, Mayor.
Right.
Well, I think Mark already covered my point of view on that one, that what Councilor DeYoung had brought up, just looking at it the other way.
Thank you. Jim?
Real quickly, and I'll be done because I think it's going in that direction. We're going to hold up the process that's been in motion for a long time. There is nothing stopping this council from insisting that part of our strategic plan going forward will include every tree we can possibly cut down. I'll start my saw first. We can appoint a task force that says, why don't we go out and study the feasibility of increased logging in Josephine County? Maybe
we don't need to study that.
In Riverside Park too. That opportunity.
Yeah, Riverside Park.
You know what? You know what? This guy.
Yeah, let's cut down Riverside Park. That's what we're going to do.
Sorry, man.
Without this plan, what I'm looking
I'm
for,
sorry.
looking forward,
Had some respect for this guy before. Don't anymore.
Some recommendations about, I don't know, tech or travel or tourism or expanding things and new ideas. Nothing prevents this council from moving forward and seeing to it in coordination with the county across the parking lot that we.
You worked for the county.
Don't misquote me on this, Jim. The natural resource that I am for it 100%. I just see two different issues going on here.
Don't misquote anybody, Jim Moore.
Well, and I know that there are people that represent us on the federal level that are fighting for logs. And we have people at the state level, believe it or not, fighting for logging rights. We have our county commissioners, like was mentioned earlier, are on boards and task forces to try and get the logging back at some level. So that's kind of the elephant in the room, economic development wise, for me. I think we're already working that one just a little too late. And now
so we don't need it in a strategic plan, Mike.
Just my 2 cents. So,
yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Aaron, before we decide
Take
what
a
next?
vote?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Chicken. Anyway, I would like to pull this out of the consent agenda and have us deal with it separately, if that's okay with the council.
It was going to be a done
put the
deal,
whole
you see.
consent
That's
agenda.
why it was consent.
So pulling item A, I would entertain a motion for
Who's
its
going to be confused first? Let's
future.
watch.
What is the future of A? Roy.
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Have a second by Jim. Any further discussion? Dare I ask?
Who's going to be confused? Come on.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All those opposed? 1. Any abstentions? Mark, are you voting one way or the other on this?
I apologize.
No problem.
I'm confused here because we pulled it. And we're voting on it individually.
Individually.
Pass it as it sits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
That was the motion. So let me start over. All those in favor, please?
Now the vote's
We're
changed.
changing a vote.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
We pulled it, and now we're voting on it separately from the consent calendar.
Why are you voting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That we go with it. Roy's motion was to approve. Yes. And so all those in favor of approving 3A, please raise your hand. Okay, I got 3. All those opposed?
3.
I got 3.
Now watch this.
Yep. Here we go.
This is pretty funny, you know.
I'll explain why you're abstaining.
Yes, I feel I would like more information to hear where they're coming from, and I would like to know.
Well, it's too late. They're
balanced,
putting it to a vote.
perspective,
You either put your
and that they-
2 cents in
when they
or
look at the
step
county,
out.
that they're not just focusing in. I don't say they can't focus in areas of their specialty, but
So then
they
vote
get
no.
perspective, because we do.
And
have
when the
resources,
mayor sees there's 3 and
that are not
3,
being used and
let's
should
give
have
this
that
more time,
opportunity.
gentlemen.
Yeah.
I think they themselves, since even if they've been on the other side, could even portray that picture or the obstacles that are before us and say it's
You
not
should have been
viable.
first to make a
I guess
motion to
I'm
say
trying
table it.
to think that could be part of
Did you
the
let Roy Lindsay go first?
process when they present it to us as an economic plan,
Right.
that they at least
Yeah,
have that
exactly.
perspective.
Man, what morons.
I'm not sure it's too late for that to be included.
It's too late for that.
Right. So we have a vote of 3-3.
So why didn't you
And
vote?
I'm going to vote yes in the affirmative. And so the motion carries.
That's it, Mike.
Oh,
Well done.
nice. Hey, well, you know what? Just cut and paste my rant from the beginning and paste it onto the end here. And I think I pretty well sum up the way I feel about this. You know, first of all, it probably doesn't matter what you suggest to them or what this company's inclinations are in terms of, you know, whatever political leanings they have. It's not going to make any difference into how effective they are at economic development for this county. They're not going to give you diddly squat. They're going to take your money and they're going to laugh on the way to the bank. They'll probably stop off and, you know, buy some pot here in town since it's legal now.
I think we're missing a point here. Okay, so sorry to disagree with you. The point to me is that when you have anything, whether it's brand new expensive bus stops or a new city logo or this kind of foolishness, when you've got something like this where there's disagreement among the councilors, you should stop, reconsider the whole thing, gather the information that you say that you need. Keep in mind that the city staff is now saying, well, I really don't know. I'll have to go look that up.
Right.
And stop. You don't proceed ahead and let Roy Lindsay come. I'm proposing that we say yes, and then the mayor breaks the tie. What the heck kind of system is this?
Right, and then you got the abstention guy who really is a no vote when you think about this thing. It's just goofy. Listen, I'm telling you that when this country was taking off economically, it was because there was opportunity here. And people saw, hey, I can leave this place where they're, you know, they've got their boot on me all the time, and I can go to that place where nobody has a boot on me.
And I'll do that until they get their own something up their something.
Right.
And then it's all over.
Right. And you don't have to do anything to make that kind of stuff happen. All you have to do is put the news out that, guess what? We're not going to bug you. Come here and do business. We're gonna love on you to like you wouldn't believe here. And you don't have to hire some company who comes in here and does some special study and all this kind of stuff. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
So let me ask you this question.
People go where their self-interest takes them.
How many of these votes do you think, where there was any effect on somebody's vote, I don't mean Roy Lindsay, but any effect on someone's vote by hearing from the city manager that the county was already on board? They've already approved this. It was written by Jim Moore in the Courier on the front page. How many of their votes do you think were affected by that news?
Yeah, you know what? That was a major thing here. They think that the county is already on board, and they go, well, hey, you know, the county's already on board. I think we'll go with that. No, that's not how you do things.
There were people in the audience that easily could have explained to Aaron Kubik and to Jim Moore, wait a minute, they go to the county meetings. They know it's not been approved.
Right.
But we've had this happen before. I cannot guarantee you it happened this time, but we've had people say before to Jim Moore, listen, that's not right. That's not right. Please don't print that. That's not right. And he did it anyway.
How can you have not enough distance between the offices of the city and county to keep you from throwing a rock and hitting them, and them not know about something as big as the outlay of cash that's going to happen with this? How can you have these people that disconnected to what's going on? It's moronic. Please stop doing this kind of stuff.
Okay, we're going to stop.
Don't know what